And now let's join the second segment of this week's edition of ESPN Speedweek with all the news from motorsports. At the Grand Prix of Canada Formula One race last weekend, Riccardo Patrese won the pole, stopping Ayrton Senna's streak at 7. The Italian driver even out-qualified his vastly better-paid teammate Nigel Mansell, despite an accident on Friday that left Riccardo with a broken helmet and a stiff neck. Bob Varsha reports.
Mansell launched perfectly at the green light and arrived at the first corner as only the third leader of a Grand Prix this season after Senna and Patrese. Mansell immediately found his groove and drove away from the field. The big-name retirements began on lap 4. Gerhard Berger's McLaren with electrical problems. Then a real shock. Senna, whose feat of finishing the season's first 4 races is capped only by the fact that he won them all with electrical woes of his own on lap 27. 1 lap later, Alain Prost lost the gearbox in his Ferrari. He was followed in short order by teammate Jean Alesi, whose departure was a bit more spectacular. Then again, it could have been worse. Just ask Aguri Suzuki, whose Lola suffered this meltdown when an oil line let go big time. The potential Team Williams 1-2 sweep was lost when Patrese pitted with a flat tire on lap 41. That handed second to the Benetton of former world champ Nelson Piquet. Then, as Team Patriarch Frank Williams looked on, it all came apart. As Mansell turned from the hairpin with less than a mile to go to the checkered flag, his gearbox let go. The disbelieving Piquet passed Mansell to inherit his 23rd career win over the Tyrrell of Stefano Modena with Patrese 3rd. Mansell was credited with 6th, just behind the 2 Jordan Fords of Andrea de Cesaris and Bertrand Gachot, giving Irish Formula 3000 legend Eddie Jordan all-important points in only his team's 5th Grand Prix race ever. Reporting for Speedweek, this is Bob Varsha.
Pit Road in Montreal was buzzing about the joint communique released by USAC, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the FIA regarding possible use of the 3.5-liter normally aspirated engine at Indianapolis beginning in 1993. One of those who wasted no time in expressing his opinion was Nigel Mansell.
I'll say it straight from the hip. It will be the biggest mistake kart can make to go to a 3.5 litre aspirated engine. I say this because the disparity between the engines, the fuel that you use, you just can't control it. They're unreliable. I think the actual regulations they have at the moment are pretty well fair. And, you know, you've got great close racing. And if you go that route, I think it'll be the biggest sad mistake that the series will probably make.
Nigel, of course, speaks firsthand about the subject, as Formula One has run 3.5-liter normally aspirated engines for the past 3 years. Meanwhile, the Kart PPG IndyCar World Series made its annual visit to the Milwaukee Mile in West Allis, Wisconsin. Rick Mears, fresh from his victory at Indianapolis, easily won the pole position and looked like the one to beat at the Miller Genuine Draft 200. But it didn't turn out that way. Mario Andretti from outside row 1 passed Rick and, just like at Indianapolis, led the early part of the race. Mears did lead 28 laps, but ended up 15th, retiring after 140 circuits with electrical problems. Someone who was very impressive, Scott Pruitt. After a dismal month at Indianapolis, Pruitt was as high as 3rd until his Bud Judd expired. But more impressive were the Andrettis. Michael, who ran out of fuel on the last lap last year, led his cousin John and Father Mario across the line to record his first victory of the season.
We weren't going to run out of gas this time, and to finish 1, 2, 3 Andretti's is just unbelievable. It's so exciting. You know, the Kmart Haviland crew did a great job and had a little luck with Rick having his problems, and that was it.
It was the first time members of one family occupied the podium after a major auto race. With his 4th place finish, Bobby Rahal now leads the points. On Wednesday, Michael left for Europe for his 2nd test with the McLaren Formula One team at Magny-Cours in France. As was the case during his first test, rain is putting a damper on things. Well, A.J. Foyt made his final appearance at Milwaukee and finished 16th. He has raced in more IndyCar events there than in any other track, winning 4 times. Donald Davidson has a story of one victory that also resulted in serious injuries for one of the competitors.
A.J. Foyt, who has just won the 1964 Indianapolis 500, is here in car number 1, going for 4 straight USAC championship wins. He grabs the lead from pole sitter and 500 runner-up Roger Ward to set the pace in the early stages. Ward hangs with him and takes over the lead at 30 laps. Jim Hurtubise, who ran 3rd to these two for many laps in the 500 before dropping out, is right behind them. things tighten up, and lap after lap they run together. Ward bubbles out of a turn, but still leads. And apparently something is wrong with Roger's car. He slows, Foyt tries to miss him, and Hurtubise unavoidably rides up over Foyt's wheel. Herc hits the wall, and fire erupts as he slides to a halt. He'll suffer major burn injuries, but miraculously will be racing again in less than a year. In the meantime, Foyt goes on to win with an average speed of just over 100 miles an hour and takes a huge lead in the 64 championship point standings. AJ is happy to win, but his thoughts, and those of his colleagues, are still with the seriously injured Hurtubise. For Speedweek, this is Donald Davidson.
Experience live World Wrestling Federation action at the Nassau Coliseum, Saturday, June 15th at 8 p.m. Matches include Mr. Perfect defending the Intercontinental title against the British Bulldog. The Nasty Boys defend the tag team belts against the Legion of Doom. And $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase opposes Roddy Piper with Virgilina in Piper's Corner. Tickets on sale at the box office and all Ticketmaster locations. The WWF, June 15th at the Nassau Coliseum.
South Shore beaches to our place in history. The special friends you'll find here, the things to do and see. Feeling good about Long Island, the place you wanna be. The heart of it all has it all. Babylon. The heart of it all has it all. Babylon.
Live, top-ranked boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknowns, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock them off the win system, all right?
Junior Poison Jones puts his undefeated record on the line against Alejandro Sanabria. Two world-rated bantamweight contenders battle head-to-head on Top Rank Boxing. Thursday night, live on ESPN.
Ground transportation arranged through General Rent-A-Car, where free unlimited mileage and quality Chrysler cars are just two of the reasons people on the move are racing to General.
A couple of IndyCar drivers continue their recuperation from injuries suffered in crashes during the month of May in Indianapolis. This incident on the 25th lap of the 500 involved Kevin Cogan and Roberto Guerrero and sent Cogan to Methodist Hospital with multiple injuries. It also led to a disagreement between the two drivers as to who caused it. Our Derek Daly talked with Kevin.
The video only shows like 1/10 of the story because, coming down the straightaway, him going side to side, then at the last minute coming into the turn, going way out to the wall to the right to let me through, I thought. And that's where the big mistake was, I guess.
You were fairly strong in your reaction against Guerrero, but I think one of the things
I wasn't so strong. I kind of felt like I wasn't so strong against Guerrero. I felt that here I am on morphine and Demerol for 5-6 days, and just smashed in a million pieces, and I'm getting sort of hit below the belt saying that I caused an accident when it's my feeling that he caused the accident.
Kevin's broken right wrist, his arm, and his broken right femur will heal. But in the meantime, he hopes that something can be done to try and prevent similar injuries in the future.
I think the cars are well built, but all that has to happen is for CART and USAC or Speedway just to say, look, they're too narrow now. They've got to be widened, and there has to be roll bars put in the sides. These tires come through without anything to stop them. They hit you in the head, the arm, the legs, whatever, the chest in my case, and the arm. Let's just eliminate that problem. Okay, so the cars are 3 or 4 inches wider. I don't think anybody's going to care. Not a fan, not a driver. Nobody's going to care as long as everybody has to do it.
Kevin Cogan gets to go home to California this weekend to continue his recovery. Meanwhile, not too far from here in Greenfield, Indiana, we got a chance to catch up on the recovery of Mark Dismore. Mark, a rookie at the Speedway, was involved in this horrifying crash during practice at Turn 4. After hitting the inside concrete, the car then struck the end of the pit wall. The engine and gearbox were ripped from the tub, which then overturned and slid to a stop in the pit area. Mark never lost consciousness during the ordeal, but his injuries will keep him out of racing for a long time. Last year's Toyota Atlantic West Coast champion, he looks at the wreck philosophically and has never really questioned why it happened.
No, not really. I never have said why me, because you know, you look around, you look at people that are born with birth defects, or someone that gets cerebral palsy, or a lot of things. And I've been lucky. I'm 34 years old. I've been healthy all my life. I was born and all my parts worked, and I could see and hear and talk and think for myself. And so no, I can't feel that way at all. I've got a good family. I've had my health all my life. So I've led a blessed life. So I can't. Why me never entered the picture.
Both Kevin and Mark find a great deal of strength in the tremendous support shown to them by the race fans.
It's amazing. I don't know if I'd have got this many cards and letters if I'd have won the race, you know. It's been unreal. And it does make a big difference. And it is amazing how much, you know, racing fans care about people that race. I'd like to say thanks to everyone that's done that, and all the people that have called and left messages with my dad and stuff, and it makes a big difference.
The family unit is really very strong at the Dismore household. Without Mark's wife, Donna, his daughter, his son, his days would be very long. They help him now do things that you and I just take for granted.
My wife, she's rigged me up a shower. She attached a hose to our kitchen faucet and runs it outside on the patio, and takes me out there and puts trash bags over my legs and my arm, and shampoos me, just lathers me all up and hoses me off. You know, neighbors probably think we're nuts, but I'll tell you, after about 5 days, you're trying to get away from yourself. It gets pretty ripe, you know, and there ain't nothing feels better than a shower, so it makes a big difference. It kind of rejuvenates me, but I'm just waiting for the day when I get all this plaster Paris off and I get to make all my parts move again.
And Derek has joined us now in our studios, and who better to speak of the long, hard recovery that both of these drivers face than you?
That's right, I've been there before. From Kevin's point of view, I think it's frustration as well as time. Frustration that he has to go through recuperation again. But Mark Dismore, I think he has an emotional injury also. A promising rookie, and his successful career was totally ripped away from him in the violence of the impact. His family will help him get over that. As regards the orthopedic injuries, he'll have long days. He'll think time passes very slowly, but believe me, it won't be long till he realizes just how fast time goes by. And time is a great healer.
Coming June 9th, it's a pay-per-view extravaganza. The Universal Wrestling Federation presents Beach Brawl, the battle to crown the Sports Channel television champion. For just $14.95, see wrestling great Steve Dr. Death Williams, Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, Bam Bam Bigelow, Don the Rock Morocco, Cowboy Bob Orton, Cactus Jack, Steve the Wild Thing Ray, plus a ladies championship match. June 9th, pay-per-view, $14.95. The UWF's Beach Brawl. Call your cable operator today.
What is review?
A dandy little offering of the most literate films, videos, and music.
The Sun-Times called it an eclectic news magazine covering culture, entertainment, and the arts.
A triumph for intelligent television.
And TV Guide said, cheers to arts and entertainment review.
What is review? Find out Friday on A&D.
Davy Jones became the first three-time winner in the IMSA Camel GT Series this year with a convincing win in the Nissan Camel Grand Prix at Mid-Ohio last Sunday. The Chevy Intrepids, which started on the front row with Tom Kendall and Wayne Taylor, both had problems during the morning practice period. Taylor blew an engine and Kendall developed handling problems and were only able to stay up front for the first 7 laps. That's when Jones, who started third in the Jaguar, got around Taylor and led the rest of the way in a race that never saw a yellow flag. Points leader Chip Robinson was never a factor, spinning at least 3 times but hanging on for a 6th place finish. Teammate Jeff Brabham had transmission problems and experienced a punctured right rear, but salvaged a 5th. Jones' dominating win tied him with Brabham for 2nd in the point standings. Not a bad birthday present for the 27-year-old driver.
I never thought about the fact that it was my birthday. I just thought that, you know, we're so dedicated to winning a championship here for Camel, and we've tried 3 years, and I think this is our year for the Bud Light Jaguar team. And that's all that was on my mind, and, you know, right down to the very last corner of the last lap, I was just, giving it everything I had. I don't know how much further I could have gone.
Meanwhile, Camel Lights points leader Parker Johnstone's crew spent the early part of the week rebuilding the car that he crashed at Lime Rock.
When I got here Wednesday morning, the guys, led by Chris Mellon, had taken it down to just its bare essential components. No plumbing, no wiring, just a bare tub. And in 2 days, they built the entire car from scratch.
Parker spent the weekend doing what he's done in all races except 2, winning. He can clinch the division championship at Watkins Glen in just 2 more races. In the Exxon Supreme GTO race, Nissan's Jeremy Dale won, but Pete Halsmer's second-place finish allowed him to take the points lead from Robbie Gordon. The SCCA's Liquid Tide Trans Am Tour's 3rd stop of the year was at the Pontiac Grand Prix of Dallas in Addison. And for the first time since 1984, there was a factory-backed Pontiac in the series. Prepared by Bob Tullius's Group 44 and driven by Scott Lagasse, the Trans Am Firebird started 21st and finished 9th. Pole sitter and points leader Scott Sharp led the first 4 laps until passed by defending race champion Irv Hare. Late in the race, Jerry Clinton brought out a full course yellow when he banged the wall. Hare at that time found himself running second to Greg Pickett, but coming off the caution, he was able to regain the top spot and went on to win, despite the fact he had spent a few hours at a local hospital after falling off a pit cart the day before.
Yesterday afternoon when I took that spill, I thought maybe it was all over there for a minute, but I was disappointed when we didn't get the pole this year, but I'd rather have 2 wins than 2 poles in a row. And the Rocket Sports crew gave me a perfect race car. It got better at the end. This car's better right now than when the race started. It's just fantastic.
One of the most action-packed events of the weekend in Addison was the Truck Guard Shell Zone Challenge for SCCA race trucks. Shortly after the start, number 56 Andy McDermott got sideways and T-boned his Ford Ranger teammate Craig Widener. Both were able to continue. This is not exactly the way Harvey Clark wanted things to go. His truck rolled over after hitting the tire barrier. But believe it or not, the incident didn't knock him out of the race. This did. After getting restarted, the hood flew up, the windshield broke, and Clark was sidelined. Here's Widener again. You could almost hear him sing, "You picked a fine time to leave me loose wheel." Steve Saline had this one all wrapped up. A big lead on the last lap, but his engine began misfiring and finally quit within sight of the checkered flag. McDermott, remember him from the first corner incident, inherited the lead, and in only his second truck race, took the victory. The race trucks and other SCCA divisions were scheduled to reopen Texas World Speedway on July 6th and 7th, but the track won't be ready, and so the weekend of racing has been canceled. The latest voting for the McDonald's All-Star Winston Cup team shows Bill Elliott in the lead. To cast your vote, dial 1-900-737-TEAM.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Hi, I'm Chris Myers. Join Bill Patrick and me for SportsCenter after the race. We'll preview the NBA Finals and review the French Open. Was Andre a giant in Paris? We'll tell you, and we'll tell you about Jack McDowell's effort to pitch a perfect game.
On Wednesday, some 200 motorists left Ann Arbor, Michigan on the 8th annual One Lap of America. This year's version has once again attracted a variety of cars, including some 2-seaters not previously seen. Instead of 8,000 miles across the country, this year's journey will only be 2,600 miles in the eastern half of the U.S. Car and Driver magazine is the official sponsor of this year's event.
We've been unofficially associated with first the old Cannonball runs and now the One Lap of America, and this year finally we've made it official. It's also being run for the benefit of a charity called One Lap for Kids, and that benefits children with cancer, and it's our way of giving a little something back.
The event is scheduled to end tonight back in Michigan. And that will do it for another edition of Speedweek. We leave you with some other racing action from last weekend. So long, everyone.
Speedweek has been brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinkin' Busch Light.